Are you sick and tired of feeling gassy and bloated and having all sorts of abdominal distension no matter what diet you've been following, no matter what supplement you've been taking, and truthfully, no matter what you're reading online and what you're reading in books, you still don't seem to be getting the answers? Does that sound familiar to you? As most of us have been raised, when you have a medical condition, you go to your family doctor, your doctor writes a prescription, you take your medication, you go home and you hope you feel better. That's very helpful in certain situations, but when we're dealing with chronic conditions, we often need a much more in-depth approach. Taking these medications may give us a little bit of a symptomatic relief, but unfortunately, there's no free lunch, and this can often create downstream side effects, such as bone loss if we're on proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux for a long time, if we're on different types of Pepto-Bismols and so forth. These can also pose other side effects that we've really got to be careful of. And at the end of the day, they're not really treating the root of the problem. They're simply providing some symptomatic relief without actually addressing the underlying factors and the underlying triggers. So is this approach really the smartest and the wisest decision? Our body is so in tune. It's so wired to present symptoms to tell us something to treat. So why would it be in our best interest to simply just to mask those symptoms, put a Band-Aid approach on them and hope that we've cured the problem? That doesn't make any sense at all. We've got to do much more in-depth work. Doesn't mean it's any harder. It just means we've got to be smarter about this and really try to figure out what those blind spots are and get to the root of the problem. And in my practice, I see a lot of patients that are struggling with a few myths who are dealing with IBS on a day-to-day level. Number one, they're told a lot about fiber. Add more fiber to your diet. Well, fiber is wonderful, but fiber doesn't necessarily improve different types of IBS. In fact, adding fiber to your diet can actually continue the fermentation process, which is going to exacerbate a lot of gas and bloating. So that's something to pay a lot of attention to, is by removing certain fiber-rich sources of foods from your diet. That can often be very beneficial. Number two, we're often told that IBS is all in your head. This is something that you just have invented and you're fine. Get out of my office. You are going to be okay. Well, unfortunately, there's so much more to IBS than just what's going on in our head and in our minds. In fact, I see tons of different biological markers that we will measure and identify and remove to help the healing process, and our patients' IBS symptoms get better. This is not to say that stress or mental emotions don't get involved with IBS. They certainly do, but this whole experience of IBS being just in your head is not accurate at all. And number three, we're oftentimes told that, hey, gas is normal. You're just going to have to live with it. Diarrhea, constipation, you know what? Maybe you just have a sensitive stomach. This is not normal. Normal is not having chronic gas, bloating, abdominal pain, distension. That is something that you can live without. And we need to figure out what the root of the problem is to get there. So if you're looking for some more tips and some free guides, please check out my website, healthygutinstitute.com, and I'll see you at the next video.